Yeah, that's right, I have. Yeah, I came out to California a couple of years ago. Obviously, I still call England and Lancashire my home, but the sport that I do, it's huge in the USA, so there's more opportunity for me out there at the moment. So, yeah, I've been out there for a little bit, but I haven't turned my back on England.
How did you get into the UFC style of fighting? How did you become a UFC fighter?
So I started off doing martial arts when I was 8 years old, and I was always very competitive. Then when I was a kid, I used to do a lot of tournaments, and that's pretty much where a lot of my focus was. I always did well at school, I always got good grades and everything, but I have to be honest, my focus was always on my martial arts. I was obsessed with it as a child. And then as I got older, I went to college, but I did a course in advanced electronical engineering, and because it seemed like a good idea at the time, and I've got to say I was born silly, and unfortunately I dropped out, and so it was just really a string of dead-end jobs after that. And then heard about the UFC and, how there was, a potential career in that. And this is back in the early days in 2004 when it was pretty much unheard of. So, I started working towards that, and I went on the Ultimate Fighter reality TV show, which is kind of like Big Brother, if you will, but two people fight each week. The loser goes home, the winner stays. I ended up winning the whole show, and yeah, I've been in the UFC ever since.
The bizarre thing is, of course, that you are a massive star around the world, and particularly in the US. And despite the fact that it's a great success as a sport, it still hasn't really broken through in the same way in the UK.
Yeah, that's right. It hasn't. I mean, the sport's gone absolutely huge around the world, but you're absolutely right. It hasn't taken off in the way that the UFC would have hoped in the UK, and the reason for that is partly because the shows are shown live, at like 3 o'clock in the morning. So unless you're an absolute die-hard fan, or you're stumbling in from a nightclub, you're probably not going to see it. So the UFC have some big expansion plans for Europe and the UK. I'm not going to burst a bubble on that one. I'll let them announce it in their own time. But they just recently hired Gary Cook, who was the CEO of Manchester City.
Yes, of course he was.
And so they've got massive plans for the UK. So I think we're going to see many, many more shows shown in England and around a reasonable time of 7, 8 o'clock.
And of course, on this occasion, and the reason we're talking to you now is that you're coming back to the Northwest. You're going to be fighting at the Arena in Manchester at the end of October. Now, it must be personally very satisfying for you.
Yeah, no, it is. As a kid, I was always a big fan of boxing, and Ricky Hatton, and a lot of big fights took place then. And when I started becoming a fighter, and when I was a professional, my dream was always to fight at the MEN. Now, I've done that a couple of times now, and the last time I fought there was 4 years ago. Predominantly, most of my fights take place in America. As I was saying before, that's probably going to change now. But anyway, first fight back in England and at the MEN for 4 years, and I'm absolutely thrilled, super excited to be coming back. I'm fighting a guy called Mark Munoz. He's a very, very tough fighter. In some ways, you could argue that this fight is a number one contender matchup. The winner of this fight could easily be fighting for the title early spring. So this is a very, very big fight. I'm undefeated in England as well, so that obviously is on my side. And the crowd in Manchester, every time I fought there, have just been absolutely phenomenal. They really have. They've almost literally blown the roof off the buildings. I'm really excited to be back there. Tickets go on sale for that on Monday, and as I say, I'm absolutely thrilled, and I can't wait to fight in Manchester again.
When you come back to the UK, when you come back to Lancashire, because I know you do, and you've still obviously got strong connections with our area and the Ribble Valley, do you miss home? Do you wish that you could do your job here rather than in the States?
Absolutely, absolutely. I've got a lot of friends and family. Your son is one of my very best friends. That's where I was born and raised, so, it's still where I call home. Yeah, I live out in California at the moment, and it's a great place, and people are nice, etc. The weather's beautiful, but I do miss home. I miss the hills. Believe it or not, I miss the cold and the rain. I really do, and I miss the sense of humour. There's a lot of things I miss, So as I said, I'm doing what I do, so I'm living out here for the time being. I won't be here forever. I'm maximising my potential as a professional fighter, and there's just more opportunities in terms of endorsements and things like that. It's just right now it makes more sense to be here. But yes, certainly miss the Ribble Valley and England in general.
I know all fighters have to have an awful lot of self-confidence. You wouldn't go in that octagon unless you did. But are you surprised by how well you've done? Can you be modest enough to admit that?
Yeah, absolutely. When I first got involved with this, my grand scheme in it all as I said before, I regretted not finishing college and being able to get a decent job, if you will. And I always did well at school, but I dropped out because I wasn't interested. And my plan, this whole professional fighting thing that I got involved with, was to get enough money in the bank so I could quit work and then go to college and then university after that for a few years, finish my education and then get a job in something I was passionate about and that I enjoyed. And that was the initial goal. And so, yeah, it's far exceeded that. It's far exceeded beyond my wildest dreams, to be honest. So, yeah, sometimes I do have to pinch myself.
And is there any of the DJ left in you? Because you used to be a bit of a club DJ, didn't you?
That's right. Me and your son, DJ Jacko and Mikey D, yeah, we used to DJ out all over the place. Yeah, I love music. I've got a set of turntables at home, and my friend has a bar. Now and again, he'll convince me to go down there, and I'll do a little set.
Obviously, the whole of Lancashire will be behind you, but the rest of the UK, I'm sure, as well. The 26th of October, Munoz obviously believes that he can do the business. You know that you can.
Yeah. Well, that's right. I mean, he's a tough fighter. Listen, he's actually one of the nicest guys you could ever wish to meet. But inside the octagon, he's a beast. He's looking to embarrass me in front of my hometown. So that ain't going to happen. It's going to be a hell of a fight. Number 1 contender matchup, 26th of October. If anyone's got, a few quid left in the wallet, I know times are tough these days. I would love it if you would come out and support me.